If you live in the eastern United States, there is a good chance that you have seen native Virginia creeper, Parthenocissus quinquefolia, growing in the woods, a vacant lot, or in someone's yard. In fact, it is so common that many dismiss it as a useless weed, but Virginia creeper is an important part of our native ecosystems for a variety of reasons, as we are going to find out. It is often considered the most widespread native vine in eastern North America and has a native range that stretches from the Gulf Coast all the way north into Canada and even into the eastern edge of the Great Plains, a range that is only rivaled by poison ivy, Toxicodendron radicans, which Virginia creeper is sometimes confused with. I'll be pointing out how to tell them apart in all seasons later in the video. In addition to its huge native range, it has been planted outside its native range in the US and in Europe for various reasons. Virginia creeper is so commonly seen within its native range because it will quite literally grow just about anywhere. It is adapted to a wide range of soil textures, moisture levels, and pH, and is even tolerant of salt and pollution, and moderately tolerant to heat, drought, and compacted soil. Basically, if it can get its roots into the ground, it will grow. It does best in full sun and can still thrive in part shade, and will even tolerate full shade, though it will not fruit as well or grow as large. Because it can handle such a diversity of sunlight exposure, Virginia creeper can be found growing in most successional growth stages, from early pioneer plant communities all the way to closed canopy climax forest. Virginia creeper is a member of the Vitaceae, the grape family, and is a large vine, reaching 30 to 50 feet in length with a 5 to 10 foot spread on average. It is often found climbing up something such as a tree, a wooden fence, or a brick building, and can also grow without support by trailing along the ground. Virginia creeper doesn't spread from root suckers, but trailing vines layer or root wherever a leaf node contacts the ground, and it will form a dense ground covering mat up to 1 foot in height. The ability to form a thick vegetation layer with a dense root system is the reason Virginia creeper is often planted on exposed slopes to prevent soil erosion. It is quite easy to propagate by dividing the rooting nodes. If you love to learn about our awesome native vines like Virginia creeper, then please be sure to pollinate that like button. The specific epithet of the scientific name, quinquefolia, gives us a good clue as to what the leaves look like. They are palmately compound with 5 leaflets, most of the time. They can occasionally have 3 and rarely more than 5 leaflets. The confusion with poison ivy comes from when it has 3 leaflets, which are usually only on very young seedlings or on the new growth of older vines. More on how to tell Virginia creeper from poison ivy in a bit, but now back to Virginia creeper leaves. The leaves average 3 to 6 inches long and wide, with a slender petiole or leaf stem that can be up to 6 inches in length. The leaflets are ovate to obovate in shape, which is plant nerd for egg-shaped or egg-shaped and wider towards the tip, with a coarsely toothed margin or edge. The leaves are shiny purplish red when they emerge and have a dull green upper surface and a paler green lower surface when mature. Both surfaces are generally smooth, but may have sparse stiff hairs along the veins. The leaf arrangement on the vine is alternate. Fall color is shades of red and can be spectacular on vines growing in full sun, less so on vines growing in part to full shade. The fall color is one reason Virginia creeper is planted as an ornamental vine, but there are a few things to keep in mind when deciding if this plant is a good fit for your property. The obvious thing to consider is the large size of the mature vine and its ability to root wherever it touches the ground. It needs some space, some management, and a dedicated structure like a dead tree, a really sturdy fence, a masonry or rock wall, or something similar to grow on if it is not being used as a ground cover. It is quite flammable, like most vines, and should not be planted where it can grow on or near buildings. We will cover some other reasons not to let it grow up your house in a bit. Just be aware there's a lot to think about before planting this vine, especially in a yard or garden situation. Figuring out what to plant in your pollinator and wildlife garden can be a bit overwhelming. There's just a lot to take into consideration, and that overwhelm often leads to analysis paralysis where nothing gets done. If this sounds like something you're experiencing in your habitat journey, then the backyard ecology community may provide the help you need to help break that stalemate and move forward. I will put a link for more information in the pinned comment and description, or just use the QR code to go directly to it. The leaves are eaten by a variety of insects, including various beetles and leafhoppers, and is a host plant for around 30 species of caterpillars, including the green spike-tailed caterpillars of the Virginia creeper sphinx moth, which only feed on plants in the grape family, the orange, black, and white banded caterpillars of one of my favorite day-flying moths, the 8-spotted forester, and the similarly colored caterpillars of the beautiful wood nymph, which looks like a pile of bird poop as an adult. You can't tell me entomologists do not have a great sense of humor. Which brings up a question. What is your favorite insect name? Let us know in the comments, and if you don't have a favorite insect name, then please drop some insect emojis in the comments to help this video get shown to more people. I do appreciate it. One of my favorite insect names and favorite insects is the super cool and endangered American burying beetle. The leaves are also used by leafcutter bees as nesting material. Mammals don't browse Virginia creeper much, and it is a low preference deer browse. This is one reason Virginia creeper can be so prevalent in some areas. The deer population is high enough that they are suppressing the plants they prefer, but not so high that they are eating everything green, which allows populations of lower preference browse like Virginia creeper to explode. The dense leafy growth also provides nesting sites for several songbird species and cover for small mammals, reptiles, and amphibians. New vine growth is green and smooth, turning reddish and hairy as the season progresses, with older vines being light gray to brown, rough, and woody. There are obvious aerial roots on the woody portions that have an orange-brown color when young and become darker like the bark with age. Older vines can be of substantial size. Opposite the leaves at the nodes are tendrils that end in adhesive holdfast that allow Virginia creeper to climb up rough surfaces, like tree bark and masonry walls, and even smoother surfaces like metal pipes and tubing. Which brings up something else to be aware of when planting Virginia creeper. The holdfast do their job very well, and they can damage painted surfaces and wooden surfaces, especially when removing them. You may have seen Virginia creeper your whole life, but never noticed it flowering from May through June, depending on your location, because it has inconspicuous, yellow-green, small quarter-inch diameter flowers that form in 4 to 6 inch wide panicles or clusters in the upper leaf axils, and are often totally obscured by the leaves. It is a shame the flowers are usually out of sight and so small because they are kind of cool looking with their 5 triangular recurved petals, 5 stamens, and cone-shaped pistil. The flowers can be perfect, having both male and female structures or unisexual. The flowers may be small and usually out of sight, but they are sought out by a wide variety of native bees and honeybees. The flowers give way to small, 1/3 of an inch diameter berries that start out green and ripen to a deep blue violet from July through August, depending on location, and will persist until they are eaten by the critters. Fruits are fleshy and contain 2 to 3 rounded, teardrop-shaped seeds. The fruit stems turn a bright orange-red as the fruits ripen. A wide variety of songbirds eat the ripe fruits, including thrushes, woodpeckers, the eastern bluebird, and that backyard favorite, the tufted titmouse. Many mammals like squirrels, raccoons, and opossums also eat the berries. Virginia creeper seed dispersal is mostly due to birds and critters eating the berries and depositing the seeds elsewhere in their droppings. Even though the berries look good, they are not edible for us humans due to the high oxalate levels they contain. They don't taste good, kind of the same effect that you get when you bite into an unripe persimmon, if you've ever done that. Not something you would intentionally ingest a bunch of, but if you somehow did, the result would be stomach upset, vomiting, and diarrhea. Bottom line, don't eat Virginia creeper berries or any other part of it. Now let's dive into how to tell Virginia creeper apart from poison ivy. Both are often found growing together, sometimes even on the same tree. During the summer, the difference between them is quite apparent. Poison ivy has compound leaves with 3 leaflets, and Virginia creeper has compound leaves with 5 leaflets, usually. Young Virginia creeper and new growth on older plants may have leaves with 3 leaflets. But if there's any size on the vine, there will likely be some leaves with 5 leaflets. Once the leaves drop, things get a little bit tougher, as both vines have obvious aerial roots, but only Virginia creeper will have tendrils. Also, the buds on poison ivy are pointed and fuzzy, and the buds of Virginia creeper are more rounded and smooth. If there are fruits present, the ID can be made quickly, as poison ivy has small white berries and Virginia creeper has bluish berries. I think one of the reasons that Virginia creeper is often mistaken for poison ivy, I have even heard it called poison oak in some areas, is because it can also cause a mild, short-lived dermatitis in some people. This is due to the oxalates that its sap contains, which can physically abrade the skin and cause a reaction in certain people. The rash that it causes is nowhere near as severe or long-lasting as that caused by the urushiol that is in poison ivy. Those of you that live in the northern third of the eastern U.S., the central plains, and parts of the southwest may encounter a species that is almost identical to Virginia creeper, the thicket creeper, Parthenocissus inserta. At first glance, these vines can appear to be the same species, but the tendrils of thicket creeper lack the adhesive holdfast at their tips. For it to climb, it must have structure available that its tendrils can twine around. Virginia creeper is one of those plants that is so common people either don't think about it or consider it a weed. This is unfortunate, as it is a wonderful native vine when growing in the right location. While it isn't a plant for most yards or gardens due to its size and its ability to form a thick ground-hugging mat, It does serve a purpose in more wild spaces and is a host plant for some super cool Lepidoptera and feeds a variety of songbirds and mammals while providing them with cover. There are many species of native vines, many of which have much showier flowers than Virginia creeper. And you can learn about 3 of them that hummingbirds love in this video, and be sure to take some time and enjoy nature in your backyard.